The wind howls through crumbling stone corridors, carrying whispers of the past, voices lost to time, stories buried beneath dust and decay. These aren't just ruins. They're puzzles waiting to be solved, silent witnesses to mysteries that have baffled historians, archaeologists, and adventurers for centuries. Picture standing in the shadow of a forgotten temple, your footsteps echoing where no one has walked for generations, and feeling the weight of unanswered questions pressing in around you. Who built this place? Why was it abandoned? And what secrets still linger in its empty halls? From the overgrown jungles hiding ancient cities to the hollowed-out skeletons of grand castles, the world is dotted with haunting ruins that defy explanation. Some were swallowed by nature, others abandoned in haste, and a few seem to have vanished overnight, leaving behind only riddles. These places aren't just relics of the past, they're invitations to step into the unknown. Imagine wandering through a labyrinth of crumbling walls where every corner holds a new enigma, or gazing up at a tower that seems to defy the laws of time itself. These sites don't just tell stories, they demand we solve them. Today, we're embarking on a journey to 25 of the most enigmatic ruins on Earth. Each one is a chapter in a global mystery, a place where history and legend collide. You'll encounter ghostly palaces frozen in decay, underground cities with no record of their builders, and islands where entire civilizations vanished without a trace. Some of these ruins are whispered to be cursed, others hide treasures still waiting to be found, and a few might even challenge everything we thought we knew about the past. So hold on tight, because by the end of this, you'll never look at an abandoned place the same way again. The first stop on our journey takes us to Jordan's legendary lost city of Petra, its towering rose-red facades carved directly into the sandstone cliffs. For centuries, this thriving metropolis was the heart of the Nabatean kingdom, a bustling hub of trade and culture, until it vanished into obscurity, the real mystery. Why, despite its grandeur, Petra was abandoned so completely that only local Bedouin tribes remembered its existence until a Swiss explorer rediscovered it in the early 19th century. Some theories point to shifting trade routes, others to catastrophic earthquakes, but the truth remains buried beneath the sands. Walking through the the narrow canyon leading to Petra's most famous structure, the treasury, you can almost hear the echoes of merchants and travelers who once filled these streets. What force could have driven an entire civilization to walk away from such a masterpiece? Now, let's cross the globe to the jungles of southern Mexico, where Palenque's Temple of the Inscriptions looms over the rainforest. This pyramid isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a tomb housing the remains of Pakal the Great, the most famous ruler of the ancient Maya. But it's not just Pakal's sarcophagus that sparks debate, it's the intricate carvings on its lid. Some researchers claim the imagery shows Pakal piloting a spacecraft, complete with control panels and flames erupting beneath him. Mainstream archaeologists dismiss this as a misinterpretation of Maya cosmology, arguing it depicts Pakal's journey through the underworld. Yet the precision of the carvings and the uncanny resemblance to modern technology keep the theory alive. Could an ancient king's tomb really hold clues to extraterrestrial contact, or are we projecting our own fantasies onto the past? Two ruins, two enigmas, one abandoned without explanation, the other hiding a potential secret that defies conventional history. Beneath the soaring towers of Angkor Wat, the world's largest religious monument hides secrets far older than the temple itself. Recent laser scans have revealed an astonishing truth. This sprawling complex in Cambodia sits atop a vast, interconnected network of underground chambers and passageways, some submerged entirely by time and water. Archaeologists are only beginning to unravel the purpose of these hidden spaces. Were they reservoirs, sacred crypts, or even the remnants of an older city swallowed by the jungle? Then there's the eerie precision of the temple's alignment. Angkor Wat's central tower lines up perfectly with the spring equinox, casting shadows in a way that some believe maps celestial patterns. But here's what's truly haunting. The entire temple is a microcosm of the Hindu universe, with its moats symbolizing cosmic oceans and its towers representing sacred mountains. Was this just symbolic, or could it hint at lost knowledge? Now, shift your gaze to the misty highlands of Laos, where the Plain of Jars sprawls across the landscape like a puzzle left by giants. Thousands of massive stone jars, some weighing several tons, are scattered across hundreds of sites. Their purpose, no one knows for certain. Local legends speak of ancient giants who used them to brew rice wine, while archaeologists suspect they held human remains in burial rituals. But the real mystery is their origin. These jars aren't just weathered, they're anonymous. No carvings, no inscriptions, no clues to the civilization that carved them. Even more intriguing, the jars are often found near burial sites, but no trace of the people who placed them there has ever been found. It's as if the creators vanished, leaving only these silent stone sentinels behind. Could they be linked to Angkor's lost builders, or are they evidence of a culture so old it's slipped entirely from memory? One thing's certain, these ruins don't just challenge history, they dare us to rewrite it. Off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, beneath the crystal blue waters of the Pacific, lies a structure so perplexing it sparked decades of fierce debate. The Yonaguni Monument rises from the ocean floor like a stepped pyramid, its terraced walls and sharp angles defying easy explanation. Some scientists argue it's a natural formation, shaped by tidal erosion and tectonic activity. But others point to its uncanny symmetry, the perfect right angles, the stair-like platforms, even what appears to be carved passageways. Could this be the remains of an ancient civilization swallowed by the sea? Local legends speak of a lost land called Mu, a Pacific counterpart to Atlantis, and divers have reported finding tool marks on the stone. Yet, if humans built this, when and why? The monument sits in an area prone to devastating tsunamis, leading some to speculate it was drowned by a cataclysm thousands of years ago. Either way, standing on the ocean floor beside these eerie structures, you can't shake the feeling that they're more than just rocks, they're a question carved in stone. Now descend even deeper, not into water but into the earth itself. Beneath the rocky plains of Cappadocia in Turkey, the Derinkuyu underground city sprawls across 18 levels, a labyrinth of tunnels, chambers, and ventilation shafts reaching nearly 300 feet below the surface. Built by carving directly into soft volcanic rock, this wasn't just a hideout, it was a fully functional city, complete with stables, churches, and even wineries, capable of sheltering 20,000 people. The walls still bear the soot of ancient torches, and massive circular stone doors could seal off entire sections in case of attack. But who were they hiding from? Most historians link Derinkuyu to early Christians fleeing Roman persecution, yet the city's origins might go back even further. Some tunnels connect to other underground complexes in the region, suggesting a network built over centuries by multiple cultures. Even more unsettling, the city's sheer scale implies a society that lived in constant fear. What threat could have been so relentless that an entire civilization chose to carve their world into the dark? From sunken pyramids to cities buried in shadow, these ruins don't just challenge history, they force us to reconsider what survival really meant. Off the coast of Chile, nearly 2,000 miles into the Pacific, lies one of the most isolated places on Earth, Easter Island, where the enigmatic Moai stand guard over an unraveled past. These towering stone figures, some weighing over 80 tons, have puzzled explorers for centuries. How did a society with no wheels or metal tools transport these colossal statues from the quarry to their coastal perches, some miles away? For years, the leading theory suggested they were dragged on wooden sledges, but recent experiments propose something far more dramatic, that the Moai were walked into place. Using ropes and a rocking motion, teams have shown it's possible to walk replicas upright, matching local oral traditions that say the statues moved with mana or spiritual power. Yet this raises another haunting question. If the islanders had such mastery over their environment, why did their civilization collapse? Deforestation, overpopulation, and even rat infestations have been blamed, but the truth may be more complex. The Moai aren't just relics, they're silent witnesses to a society that pushed its limits and paid the price. Now, shift continents to the heart of southern Africa, where the ruins of Great Zimbabwe rise from the savannah like a fortress of forgotten kings. This sprawling stone city, built between the 11th and 15th centuries, was once the center of a vast trading empire, its wealth built on gold and ivory. But for centuries, European colonizers refused to believe Africans could have engineered such marvels. They spun wild tales of Phoenician or Arab builders, dismissing the Shona people's own history. Archaeology has since proven the truth. Great Zimbabwe was entirely African in origin, its dry stone walls fitted together without mortar, a technique so precise that some sections still stand perfectly aligned today. The conical tower at its heart remains a mystery. Some say it symbolized grain or fertility, others argue it was an astronomical marker, but perhaps the greatest enigma is why the city was abandoned. Climate change, political upheaval, the answers lie buried in the dust, waiting to rewrite the stories we've been told. From the Pacific to Africa, these ruins aren't just reminders of the past, they're challenges to the biases that once blinded us. High in the Aravalli hills of Rajasthan, the ruins of Bhangarh Fort loom over a landscape steeped in dread. According to local legend, this once thriving city fell victim to a sorcerer's wrath, a curse so potent it emptied the streets overnight. The story goes like this. A powerful ascetic named Singhia fell in love with the kingdom's princess, Ratnavati. When she rejected his advances, he vowed revenge, using dark magic to ensure the city's doom. Some say he died casting the spell, but not before his final words echoed through the hills. Bhangarh will prosper, but its roof shall never shelter life again. And indeed, after the fort's sudden abandonment in the 17th century, no one dared rebuild. Even today, India's Archaeological Survey forbids entry after sunset, citing unnatural happenings. Visitors report disembodied whispers, sudden chills, and shadows that move against the wind. But is Bhangarh truly cursed, or does its eerie silence stem from something far more human like war, drought, or a forgotten plague? The fort's crumbling palaces and temples hold no inscriptions to confirm the legend, leaving us to wonder, did magic doom this place, or has time simply rewritten its end? Now leap from cursed stones to suspended mysteries in the mountainous province of Sagada, Philippines, where wooden coffins dangle from sheer limestone cliffs like sleeping sentinels. For generations, the Igorot people have practiced this ancient burial rite, carving coffins from hollowed logs and hoisting them high above the ground, some as far back as 2,000 years. But how, without cranes or modern rigging, the logistics seem impossible? The answer lies in a blend of ingenuity and reverence. Before death, elders would even carve their own coffins, ensuring a perfect fit. When the time came, mourners used ropes, ladders, and sheer manpower to scale the cliffs, securing the coffins in cracks or on narrow ledges. Some were placed so precariously it's as if they float in midair. But why risk such a perilous ritual? The Igorot believed elevating the dead brought them closer to ancestral spirits, protecting their souls from floods and animals. Yet even with this explanation, the sight of these weathered coffins, some now crumbling, others still intact, raises deeper questions. Who were the people inside? What stories might their bones tell? Unlike Bhangarh's curse, Sagada's mystery isn't one of fear but of profound respect, a reminder that death, in some cultures, isn't an end but a delicate balance between earth and sky. Two ruins, two starkly different enigmas, one shrouded in supernatural terror, the other a testament to human devotion. Bhangarh's curse lingers in the imagination, while Sagada's cliffs whisper of a tradition defying gravity itself. One begs the question of what force could erase a city. The other asks how love and memory can lift the dead beyond reach. And perhaps that's the haunting truth behind all ruins. They don't just challenge us to solve their puzzles, but to confront the beliefs that built them. In the thick forests of what is now North Carolina, the remnants of a failed settlement whisper one of America's oldest mysteries. In 1590, English explorer John White returned to Roanoke Island after a supply trip to England, only to find the colony he'd left behind utterly deserted. Not a single soul remained, no settlers, no bodies, no signs of struggle. Just an eerie silence and two cryptic clues carved into wooden posts, the letters CRO on one and the full word Croatoan on another. The disappearance of 115 men, women, and children has spawned countless theories. Did they integrate with the nearby Croatoan tribe, as the carving suggests? Were they slaughtered by rival settlers or hostile forces? Or did something far more inexplicable occur? Even the native tribes, when questioned years later, spoke of people who went into the earth, leaving historians to wonder, was this mass vanishing an act of survival, tragedy, or something beyond comprehension? The lost colony's empty cabins and overgrown fields stand as a haunting testament to a riddle that may never be solved. Now, set sail 3 centuries forward and halfway across the world, where another enigma drifts silently on the Atlantic waves. In 1872, the merchant ship Mary Celeste was spotted adrift near the Azores, her sails slightly torn but otherwise intact. When rescuers boarded, they found the vessel fully stocked with 6 months' worth of food, barrels of alcohol untouched, and even the crew's personal belongings neatly stowed. Only one thing was missing: every single person on board. The captain, his family, the entire crew gone without a trace. No lifeboats were missing, no log entries hinted at panic, and no storms had been reported in the area. The ship's papers were left behind, except for the captain's logbook, its final entry utterly mundane. Theories range from mutiny to pirate attacks, from underwater earthquakes releasing toxic fumes to rumors of insurance fraud. But the most unsettling possibility, that whatever happened, it was so sudden, so catastrophic, that not a single soul had time to react. The Mary Celeste's ghostly voyage challenges every assumption about how an entire crew could vanish into thin air. 2 vanishings separated by time and ocean, yet bound by the same chilling question: how does a community, whether on land or at sea, simply cease to exist? Roanoke's settlers left behind a single word, while the Mary Celeste abandoned a perfectly preserved ship. One invites us to dig deeper into the earth for answers. The other taunts us with a vessel that refused to sink, as if waiting for someone to piece together its story. Both ruins, one of wood and soil, the other of wind and salt, defy logic, insisting that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They stand as monuments not just to the lives lost, but to the limits of what history can ever truly explain. From the barren deserts of Peru, the Nazca lines stretch across the earth like a giant sketchbook left open under the sun. These massive geoglyphs, some spanning over 1,000 feet, depict everything from geometric shapes to hummingbirds, spiders, and even what looks like an astronaut. Etched into the arid plains between 500 BC and 500 AD, their sheer scale is baffling. How could a pre-industrial civilization create images so large they're only visible from the air? Some researchers argue the lines were celestial maps, aligning with stars or solstices to guide agricultural cycles. Others propose they were sacred pathways for rituals, walked by priests who couldn't even see the designs they traced. Then there's the wilder theory that the Nazca people built these markings as signals or runways for extraterrestrial visitors. The absence of erosion in this rainless desert preserved the lines, but it's also deepened the mystery. If they weren't meant to be seen from the ground, who were they for? The truth may lie in the Nazca's belief that their gods lived in the sky watching from above. Yet standing in the dusty silence of this plateau, it's hard not to wonder if we're still missing something vital, something written in lines too vast for the human eye to grasp. Now, fast forward to the late 20th century, where another set of cryptic messages emerged, this time etched into granite. In 1980, a set of towering monoliths appeared in rural Georgia, inscribed with 10 commandments for a future society. The Georgia Guidestones, dubbed America's Stonehenge, were written in 8 modern languages, plus ancient scripts like Babylonian cuneiform and Egyptian hieroglyphs. Their messages ranged from pragmatic, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, to ominous, be not a cancer on the earth. No one knew who commissioned them. The stones were ordered by a man using the pseudonym R.C. Christian, who vanished after their construction. Conspiracy theories swirled. Were they a blueprint for post-apocalyptic survival, a warning from a secret society? The mystery only deepened when the Guidestones were destroyed in an explosion in 2022, leaving behind shattered slabs and more questions than answers. Unlike the Nazca lines, these ruins weren't ancient, they were a modern riddle, a deliberate enigma planted in the soil like a time capsule for a future none of us might recognize. 2 sets of markings separated by centuries and intent, yet both speaking in a language of shadows. The Nazca lines whisper to the sky, their purpose lost to time, while the Guidestones shouted prophecies no one fully understood. One was born of a civilization trying to reach the divine, the other seemed designed to outlast civilization itself, and perhaps that's the thread connecting all ruins. They're not just remnants of the past, but messages cast forward, waiting for someone someday to finally decipher them. In the sweltering heat of Florida's countryside, a single man armed with nothing but primitive tools accomplished what engineers still struggle to explain. Edward Lidskalnin, a Latvian immigrant barely 5 feet tall and weighing 100 pounds, spent 28 years carving over 1,000 tons of coral rock into a sprawling complex he called the Coral Castle. The enormity of his work defies logic. Massive stone doors so perfectly balanced a child could spin them, towering obelisks, and even a functioning sundial, all crafted without modern machinery or outside help. When asked how he moved these colossal blocks, Lidskalnin would only smile and say he understood the secrets of the pyramids. Some claim he harnessed anti-gravity or magnetic forces. Others insist he used clever pulley systems hidden from prying eyes. But the truth died with him in 1951, leaving behind a monument that mocks our assumptions of what one determined person can do. The Coral Castle isn't just a ruin, it's a riddle carved in stone, challenging us to reconsider the limits of human ingenuity. Now, journey north to the banks of the Mississippi River, where the remnants of a forgotten metropolis rise from the Illinois plains. Between the years 900 and 1350, Cahokia thrived as the largest pre-Columbian settlement north of Mexico, home to 20,000 people, a population unmatched until Philadelphia in the 1800s. Its centerpiece, Monk's Mound, sprawls across 14 acres and towers 100 feet high, a man-made mountain built basketful by basketful. The city boasted astronomical observatories, bustling markets, and a grand plaza that could hold tens of thousands. Yet by 1400, Cahokia was abandoned. Its people vanished without written records or oral histories to explain their departure. Was it climate change that doomed them, soil exhaustion from relentless farming? Archaeologists have found grisly clues, mass graves suggesting warfare or ritual sacrifice, and evidence of a woodhenge used to track celestial events, perhaps a desperate attempt to appease angry gods. Cahokia's silent mounds stand as a haunting reminder that even the mightiest civilizations are fragile, their collapses often as mysterious as their rises. 2 ruins, 2 stark contrasts, one built by a lone visionary whose methods remain lost, the other by a whole society whose downfall echoes through empty plazas. The coral castle whispers of secrets willingly withheld, while Cahokia's mounds scream with questions no one can answer. One proves the power of obsession, the other the peril of prosperity. And perhaps that's the lesson these ruins share, whether shaped by one man or thousands. Every structure carries a story, and sometimes the grander the achievement, the deeper the mystery it leaves behind. On the terraces of Indonesia's Borobudur, the largest Buddhist temple in the world, stone walls tell stories not just of devotion but of voyages that defy time. Built in the 9th century, this monumental structure is adorned with nearly 1,500 intricate bas-relief panels, many depicting scenes of daily life. But one series stands out: the detailed carvings of massive outrigger ships, their sails billowing, crews bustling, as if frozen mid-journey. These aren't simple river canoes, they're sophisticated vessels, some with multiple masts and decks capable of braving open ocean. Historians have long debated their significance. Could these reliefs be proof that ancient Indonesians mastered long-distance seafaring, reaching as far as Africa or even the Americas? The possibility isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. The Malagasy people of Madagascar speak a language descended from Borneo, suggesting Austronesian sailors crossed the Indian Ocean over 1,000 years ago. And then there's the sweet potato, a crop native to the Americas, yet found in Polynesia long before Columbus. Did Borobudur's ships carry more than just traders? Could they have been the threads connecting civilizations the history books forgot? The temple's silent carvings offer no answers, only tantalizing hints of a maritime legacy lost to the waves. Now leap from stone to parchment, where an even more impenetrable mystery waits. In the vaults of Yale University's Voynich Library sits the Voynich Manuscript, a 240-page book that has resisted deciphering for centuries. Its pages are filled with looping, alien script, a language no linguist has cracked, and bizarre illustrations, plants that don't exist, celestial charts with unknown constellations, and naked women bathing in emerald green tubes of liquid. Carbon dated to the early 15th century, the manuscript's origins are as murky as its content. Some believe it's a coded alchemical text, others argue it's an elaborate hoax. But here's what chills researchers: the script follows linguistic patterns, suggesting it's not gibberish. Statistical analysis reveals word repetitions and structures found in real languages, yet every attempt to translate it, from medieval cipher experts to modern AI, has failed. Even the plants defy identification, their twisted roots and bulbous leaves resembling nothing in nature. Was this a herbal guide from a lost civilization? A medical text encrypted to protect secrets, or something far stranger, a message not meant for our time? The Voynich manuscript mocks the very idea of understanding, its pages a labyrinth without an exit. Two artifacts, two enigmas, one carved in stone, the other in ink. Borobudur's ships suggest a world more connected than we ever imagined, while the Voynich manuscript insists some knowledge remains stubbornly out of reach. One invites us to rewrite history, the other taunts us with the limits of human comprehension. Together, they remind us that the past isn't just a story, it's a code waiting to be cracked, a map with half its landmarks erased. And for every ruin that yields its secrets, another tightens its grip on the truth. Deep in the arid vastness of China's Taklamakan Desert lies a mystery that rewrites history: the Tarim mummies. These astonishingly preserved bodies, some dating back 4,000 years, defy all expectations, with their fair hair, European features, and woolen textiles resembling Celtic patterns. How did individuals with such distinctly Caucasian traits end up buried in the heart of Asia, millennia before the Silk Road? The mummies' clothing alone is a puzzle, woven in twill patterns identical to those found in ancient Austria, their boots lined with fur like those of steppe nomads. Even their graves hold whispers of distant lands, bundles of ephedra. a plant linked to Indo-European rituals, and cheese remnants that suggest dairy practices foreign to early East Asian cultures. The prevailing theory, they were the Tocharians, a forgotten branch of Indo-Europeans who migrated eastward, settling in what's now Xinjiang. Yet their language, recorded later in Buddhist texts, remains poorly understood, their stories silenced by time. Standing before these figures, so out of place and yet so perfectly preserved, you can't help but wonder, were they traders, refugees, or explorers who reached farther than we ever imagined? Now shift from the deserts of China to the depths of the Mediterranean, where another relic shatters assumptions about ancient technology. In 1901, sponge divers off the coast of Antikythera, Greece, stumbled upon a shipwreck littered with statues, jewelry, and a corroded bronze lump that would become one of archaeology's greatest enigmas. Once cleaned, the artifact revealed a maze of interlocking gears, dials, and inscriptions. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old device so advanced it's been called the world's first analog computer. Painstaking reconstructions show it could predict lunar eclipses, track the cycles of Greek athletic games, and even model the erratic motions of planets, all with a precision unmatched until the Renaissance. The gears, some with teeth cut to microscopic accuracy, rival the complexity of 18th-century clocks. But here's the haunting question: who built it? Cicero wrote of a similar device crafted by Archimedes, but no records of this machine survive. Was it a one-of-a-kind marvel or a glimpse of a broader technological tradition lost to history? The mechanism's very existence suggests ancient science was far more sophisticated than we've dared to assume, and that somewhere in ruins yet undiscovered lie answers we're only beginning to grasp. Two discoveries separated by continents and centuries, yet bound by their defiance of time. The Tarim mummies whisper of migrations we never documented, while the Antikythera mechanism's gears turn silently, counting down to eclipses no one alive remembers. One forces us to redraw the map of human movement, the other the timeline of human ingenuity, and perhaps that's the lesson these ruins share. History isn't a single thread, but a tapestry of forgotten connections, waiting for the right hand to pull them back into the light. High on a windswept hill in southeastern Turkey, the world's oldest known temple rises from the earth with a silent defiance of history itself. Göbekli Tepe, built 12,000 years ago by hunter-gatherers, predates Stonehenge by 6 millennia, and even the advent of agriculture. Its massive T-shaped pillars, some weighing 50 tons, are carved with intricate reliefs of scorpions, lions, and vultures, their meaning as elusive as the hands that shaped them. What's truly staggering isn't just the scale of the construction, but the implication. This wasn't built by settled farmers with surplus labor, but by nomadic people who shouldn't have had the time or resources for such grandeur. The pillars are arranged in circles, each enclosure buried deliberately under the next, like layers of a sacred time capsule. Some researchers believe the carvings aren't mere decorations but a complex symbolic language, possibly recording comets or catastrophic events. Others argue the site was a ritual center, drawing tribes across vast distances for ceremonies lost to time. But one question lingers like the desert wind. Why would hunter-gatherers invest such effort into a structure with no obvious survival purpose? Göbekli Tepe doesn't just challenge our timeline of civilization, it dares us to reconsider what drives humanity to build. Now, shift continents to the lush riverbanks of Costa Rica's Diquis Delta, where another ancient marvel lies half buried in the mud. The stone spheres of Costa Rica, nearly 300 in number, range from the size of a melon to massive orbs over 6 feet in diameter and weighing 16 tons. Carved with near-perfect precision from volcanic rock, their surfaces are so smooth they defy the crude tools believed available to the pre-Columbian people who crafted them. Unlike Göbekli Tepe's ominous carvings, these spheres offer no images, no inscriptions, just silent, flawless geometry. Local myths say they're relics of the god Tara, who threw them like celestial marbles to shape the landscape. Modern theories are just as intriguing. Some archaeologists propose they were astronomical markers aligned with solstices or constellations. Others suspect they were status symbols planted outside chiefs' homes to project power. But here's the twist. Many spheres were found grouped in patterns, yet decades of farming and looters have scattered them, erasing their original arrangements. Without context, their purpose remains as enigmatic as their creation. How did artisans achieve such spherical perfection without metal tools or mathematical blueprints? And why invest centuries perfecting stones that serve no obvious practical function? Two ruins, two continents, two radically different mysteries, yet both whisper the same unsettling truth. Göbekli Tepe's carvings suggest a society that prioritized the sacred over the practical, while Costa Rica's spheres hint at an obsession with precision bordering on devotion. One forces us to rewrite the origins of civilization, the other taunts us with craftsmanship that shouldn't exist. Were these monuments born of spiritual yearning, displays of power, or something far older, a universal human impulse to leave behind marks that outlast memory itself? The stones won't say, they only wait, silent as the millennia between their makers and us. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of Zhejiang province in China, the Longyu caves stretch across 24,000 square meters, an underground labyrinth carved by human hands, yet unknown to history until 1992. Discovered by a curious villager draining a local pond, these caverns reveal walls covered in precise, parallel chisel marks, their ceilings supported by pillars left standing like sentinels in the dark. What's staggering isn't just the scale, some chambers large enough to hold airplanes, but the silence surrounding their origin. No historical records mention their construction, no tools or artifacts were left behind, and local legends offer only vague whispers of immortal work. The cave's geometric precision suggests a purpose beyond mere quarrying, yet their sheer anonymity defies logic. Why would a civilization invest generations excavating such a colossal space, only to abandon it without a trace? Some theorists propose they were imperial hideouts or ceremonial spaces. Others speculate they held strategic reserves of water or minerals, but the most haunting possibility, that they were never meant to be found at all. The walls, polished smooth in sections, seem designed to echo sound, a detail that fuels whispers of ritual use. Yet without inscriptions or artifacts, the caves stand as a monument to deliberate secrecy, their true purpose swallowed by the earth itself. Now, cross the Pacific to the highlands of Peru, where the walls of Sacsayhuaman Fortress loom over Cusco like a puzzle box of stone. Built by the Inca in the 15th century, these zigzagging ramparts are assembled from boulders so massive, some weighing over 300 tons, that colonial chroniclers claimed they must have been placed by giants. But it's not the size that baffles engineers, it's the fit. Each stone is uniquely shaped, interlocking with its neighbors so precisely that not even a razor blade can slip between them. No mortar was used, yet the walls have withstood centuries of earthquakes that toppled Spanish cathedrals built beside them. How did the Inca achieve such precision without iron tools or the wheel? Some argue they used a method of hot stone shaping, heating rocks to soften them before chiseling. Others point to the intricate system of ropes, ramps, and logs described in oral traditions. But the most tantalizing clue lies in the stone's edges. Many are slightly convex, a design choice that disperses seismic forces like modern earthquake-resistant architecture. Was this knowledge passed down from an even older culture, or did the Inca master masonry beyond our understanding? Sacsayhuaman's walls don't just defy gravity, they mock the limits of what we assume ancient builders could do. Two ruins, two enigmas of craftsmanship, one hidden beneath the earth, the other towering under open skies. The Longyu caves whisper of a labor so secret it vanished from memory, while Sacsayhuaman stones shout a mastery we still struggle to replicate. One asks why a civilization would bury its greatest work. The other proves that some feats of engineering refuse to be buried by time. Together, they remind us that the past isn't just a story of loss, it's a challenge, daring us to uncover secrets carved not just in stone, but in the very limits of human ingenuity. In the frozen expanse of Russia's Ural Mountains, a tragedy unfolded under such chilling and inexplicable circumstances that even decades later, no theory fully explains what happened. In January 1959, 9 experienced hikers led by Igor Dyatlov set out on a trek through Dyatlov Pass, a journey that ended in their gruesome, unsolved deaths. When search teams finally found their tent weeks later, it was slit open from the inside as if the group had fled in terror. Their footprints led into the sub-zero wilderness, some barefoot, others wearing only scraps of clothing. The bodies were scattered across the snow, some with fractured skulls, others with ribs crushed by unimaginable force, and one hiker was even missing her tongue. The official Soviet investigation blamed an unknown compelling force, closing the case with more questions than answers. What could have driven skilled mountaineers to abandon shelter in lethal cold? Theories range from the plausible to the surreal. Some point to infrasound low-frequency vibrations from avalanches or wind that can induce panic, while others suggest a military experiment gone wrong, citing reports of glowing orange spheres in the sky that night. Then there's the chilling detail of elevated radiation found on some clothing, fueling whispers of a covert weapons test, but the most haunting possibility. The hikers' own camera footage recovered from the scene showed their final hours were marked not by fear but by eerie calm. Why would they cut their way out of safety only to meet such brutal ends? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a locked-room mystery written in snow and blood, a riddle where even the evidence refuses to make sense. As our journey through these 25 ruins and mysteries comes to an end, Dyatlov Pass stands apart, not for crumbling walls or lost civilizations, but for the sheer intimacy of its horror. These weren't anonymous figures from antiquity. They were young students, their voices frozen in diaries and snapshots, their final moments etched into the landscape like a warning. Whether claimed by natural forces, human error, or something far darker, their story forces us to confront the limits of explanation. Some ruins whisper their secrets over centuries. Others, like Dyatlov Pass, scream into the void, and the void screams back. The Nazca lines sprawl across the Peruvian desert like a cryptic message scrawled too large for anyone on the ground to read. These ancient geoglyphs, etched between 500 BC and 500 AD, span hundreds of square miles, some stretching over 1,000 feet long. But why? Theories abound, each more fascinating than the last, and none definitive enough to silence the others. One leading idea suggests the line served as a vast celestial map, aligning with solstices, constellations, or even the Milky Way to guide agricultural cycles in this rain-starved region. Archaeologists have noted correlations between certain lines and the positions of stars during key planting seasons, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of astronomy. Yet, if the Nazca people could track the heavens so precisely, why leave no written records to explain their work? Another theory paints the lines as sacred pathways, walked during rituals to honor gods who dwelled in the sky. The act of tracing these massive figures, be they spiders, hummingbirds, or geometric spirals, may have been a form of devotion, a way to physically embody prayers for rain or fertile soil. Some designs, like the infamous astronaut glyph, resemble shamanic figures mid-transformation, fueling speculation that the lines depicted spiritual journeys. But here's the catch: many glyphs are only recognizable from the air, raising the question, were they meant for divine eyes, not human ones? This paradox has birthed more speculative ideas, including the notion that the Nazca lines were signals or landing strips for extraterrestrial visitors. While mainstream scholars dismiss this as pseudoscience, the sheer otherworldliness of these designs keeps the debate alive. recent drone surveys have only deepened the mystery, uncovering dozens of previously unknown lines and figures hidden beneath the desert's surface. Some of these newfound glyphs depict warriors, others show fantastical creatures with multiple heads or elongated limbs, echoes of myths lost to time. Even more intriguing, researchers have detected subtle depressions near certain lines, suggesting they once channeled water. Could the Nazca have engineered these markings as part of a vast hydraulic system, directing scarce rainfall to crops? It's a compelling thought, especially given the region's brutal droughts. Yet, if the lines were purely practical, why invest such artistry into them? The answer may lie in the Nazca worldview, where practicality and spirituality were inseparable, where a hummingbird wasn't just a bird but a bridge between earth and sky. What's undeniable is the Nazca line's defiance of time. The desert's hyper-arid climate preserved them, but it's their ambiguity that makes them immortal. They refuse to fit neatly into any single explanation, standing instead as a testament to a civilization that spoke in symbols we're still struggling to decode. Were they an almanac, a temple, or a message in a bottle cast toward the stars? Perhaps the most haunting possibility is that they were all these things at once, a language written not in words but in the land itself, waiting for us to learn how to read it. The Voynich manuscript's cryptic script has taunted scholars for centuries, its looping characters forming words that refuse to surrender their meaning. Early researchers dismissed it as a medieval herbalist's notes, pointing to illustrations of plants that seemed to blend real botany with fantastical invention. But here's the catch: those plants don't match any known species, and the text structure defies the randomness of gibberish. In the 1920s, cryptographer William Friedman, who cracked Japan's Purple Code during World War II, turned his genius to the manuscript only to admit defeat. He noted the text's eerie consistency. Word lengths followed patterns found in natural languages, and certain symbols clustered like grammatical markers. Yet every attempted cipher, from substitution codes to complex anagrams, collapsed under scrutiny. Then came the hoax theory. In 2014, a University of Bedfordshire professor argued the manuscript was an elaborate Renaissance-era scam crafted to dupe wealthy collectors. The flaw, carbon dating, confirmed the vellum was centuries older than even the cleverest forger could have staged. And then there's the ink analysis revealed it was applied contemporaneously with the parchment, ruling out later editions. The hoax idea crumbled, leaving the manuscript's authenticity intact but its purpose murkier than ever. Artificial intelligence entered the fray in 2018, when a team of Canadian researchers fed the text into an algorithm designed to decode unknown languages. The AI identified a possible link to Hebrew, suggesting the script might be alphabetic cipher with vowels removed. For a moment, hope flared until linguists pointed out the translation's shaky foundation. The AI's deciphered passages included phrases like "she made recommendations to the priest," which felt suspiciously modern for a 15th century text. Worse, the same method translated random Sanskrit as coherent English, exposing its flaws. The manuscript's true torment lies in its duality, too structured to be nonsense, too opaque to be understood. Its illustrations, those bathing women in green liquid, those unidentifiable plants, feel like clues to a puzzle missing half its pieces. One theory posits it's a coded medical text, its secrecy protecting rare remedies from rivals. Another suggests it's a glossolalia artifact, born from a trance-like state of divine inspiration. But perhaps the most haunting possibility is that the manuscript was never meant to be read at all. Some medieval texts served as sacred objects, their very existence a form of magic. Could these pages be a spellbook, their power lying not in comprehension but in the act of their creation? For now, the Voynich manuscript remains a locked door. Every tool, from human brilliance to machine learning, has rattled its hinges, but none have turned the key. It mocks our obsession with answers, reminding us that some mysteries are carved not just in vellum, but in the limits of human understanding. The Antikythera mechanism's gears whisper a tantalizing secret that 2,000 years ago, someone in the ancient Mediterranean world mastered engineering principles Europe wouldn't rediscover until the Renaissance. But who? The most compelling suspect is Archimedes himself, the legendary mathematician of Syracuse. Cicero wrote that Archimedes built a planetarium so precise it could predict eclipses and model celestial motions, a description eerily similar to the Antikythera device. Syracuse's fall to Rome in 212 BC saw Archimedes killed by a soldier, but his designs may have survived, smuggled to Alexandria or Rhodes, where scholars could have refined them over generations. Yet the mechanism's complexity suggests more than one genius at work. Rhodes, a hub of astronomy and mechanics, boasted a school of engineers who built automatons for theaters and temples. Could they have iterated on Archimedes' designs, blending Babylonian eclipse records with Greek gearwork? The device's bronze plates even include corrections for the irregular orbit of Mars, a sophistication that hints at centuries of astronomical observation encoded into metal. Compare this to Europe's earliest mechanical clocks in the 14th century, like the one in Salisbury Cathedral. Those medieval marvels were crude by comparison, their gears prone to inaccuracy, their functions limited to striking bells or marking hours. The Antikythera mechanism, with its differential gears, a technology not replicated until the 19th century, could simulate the cosmos itself. The gap in ingenuity is staggering. If this device wasn't a lone masterpiece but part of a broader tradition, what else might have been lost when the Library of Alexandria burned or when Rome's empire crumbled? Perhaps the most haunting clue lies in the mechanism's failures. Modern reconstructions reveal small errors in its eclipse predictions, flaws its makers seemed aware of, as if they were still refining their model. This wasn't the work of a single mind, but a lineage of thinkers passing knowledge down, each generation inching closer to perfection. The Antikythera mechanism isn't just a relic, it's a fragment of a lost scientific revolution, one that saw the universe not as the playground of gods, but as a machine waiting to be understood. And that raises a chilling question. How much closer might we be to the stars today if that knowledge hadn't slipped through history's fingers? From the wind-carved whispers of Petra's abandoned streets to the silent, staring Moai of Easter Island, these 25 ruins don't just belong to the past, they haunt the present. Each one is a locked door, daring us to turn the key. The Nazca line's skyward cries, Göbekli Tepe's hunter-gatherer enigma, the Antikythera mechanism's gears spinning with lost knowledge. Some, like Dyatlov Pass, chill us with their intimacy, real people, real vanishings. Others, like the Voynich Manuscript, mock our centuries of curiosity, their secrets still sealed tighter than tomb doors. But here's what ties them all together: they refuse to be solved. No matter how many drones map the desert or algorithms dissect ancient ink, these ruins cling to their mysteries, reminding us that history isn't a puzzle with all the pieces. It's a conversation, one where the past gets the last word. Maybe that's why we keep coming back, not for answers, but for the thrill of the unanswered. So tell us, which of these enigmas lingers in your mind? Was it the Coral Castle's solo builder defying physics with primitive tools? The Tarim mummies, their European features staring back from the heart of Asia? Or Cahokia's vanished thousands, leaving behind only mounds and silence? Drop your pick in the comments, and if you're hungry for more deep dives into history's greatest riddles, hit subscribe. Because the truth is out there, buried, crumbled, or carved in stone, waiting for the next curious mind to dig it up.